Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk Echo, because this series, long time in the works, was rumoured to be cancelled at one point, and they sort of condensed it as well, from what we can sort of tell. It's come out, it's the new Marvel show. The reviews are not great, they're middling. The Rotten Tomatoes scores, middling to good, I guess. But the reality is, what I think this shows is now, no matter what Marvel does, unless they hit the ground running with a massive success, a huge smash hit, I think the interest is just waning. Because even if I look at the Rotten Tomatoes reviews, there's only 40 critics have reviewed it. That's terrible. And if I go to top critics, it's probably substantially less. And if I look at the audience ratings, the audience score, it's 500. No one cares. And bearing in mind, this is the show that introduces Daredevil, supposedly, and Kingpin back as characters that are reminiscent of their Netflix iterations, and yet still no one cares. So I thought it was worth a video because I find this to be interesting, and we are, I guess, slowly documenting the decline of Marvel. Now, don't get me wrong, I want Marvel to succeed. I really liked the Netflix Daredevil series. I thought it was fantastic. I really liked Jessica Jones as well, actually. And Luke Cage, too. I did like Luke Cage. Didn't care for Iron Fist, didn't watch The Defenders. But those three I liked. Now, I want them to succeed. I want them to do good. But I do think we are chronicling the very steep, very apparent decline of Marvel. So, yeah, let's take a look. Hit subscribe if you're new here, though, folks. Turn the bell notifications on. No, I still don't have a stand for my microphone. It's getting annoying. But anyway, so I thought first and foremost, just to show you the lack of interest. And it is a distinct lack of interest. Rotten Tomatoes, right? So if we go to critics, or the critics score, should we say, we'll click on that and go to top critics. Only 11 critics have reviewed it. And it's actually a 64% in terms of the top critics. Now, I'm not someone that puts a great deal of stock in critics. I don't particularly care that much what a critic says. But this is telling for a few reasons, because you've got numerous critics which are renowned Marvel shills not caring that much. So it's an interesting thing to document. But yeah, all critics, 73%. Which, funnily enough, and this is kind of one of those rare occasions where you look at the critic score and the audience score, they're about the same. Amazing. But is that simply because there are not many people that have bothered to watch it? It's probably the latter. So we'll take a look at some of these audience scores. 3.8 out of 5. Yeah, good to middling. Good to middling, and you know what? Some of them are pretty good. There's a fair amount of 5 stars. Don't know the validity of them, of course. And when we live in an industry now where people are consistently questioning negative reviews and calling it review bombing, I'm going to call out the positive ones as well. But this one, for instance, the plot was uneven and filled with holes. The pacing was slow, which would be fine if it led to something, but the finale falls flat with no explanation to how it got there. I think this is part of the issue with it, is allegedly a lot of it was cut. The action scenes were good, not from what I saw from the leaked scene on Twitter. It looked terrible. But if you look too closely at them, you can see how sloppy they were shot. The show is advertised as dark and deserving of the TVMA rating, but that doesn't earn it, as the only mature or dark thing about it is the occasional CGI blood. Interesting. My dog can write better. Fuck's sake. My dog can't. He just sleeps all day. The only way to sum up what I watched is to say that this was complete trash. It's amateur hour at Disney once again. The lead actress is one of the worst actors I've seen in a long time. Everything she did was as wooden as the oak trees in the backyard. And yeah, loads of people are saying, oh, it's a triumph for Chactaw. I think that's what it is. Chactaw Nation representation and all this kind of stuff. Which, yeah, it may be. But if your lead isn't that great. And she wasn't. She made her first appearance in Hawkeye. She was so-so in Hawkeye. you know, so-so. I wouldn't say she was exceptional. Just fine. The first episode delivers plenty of intrigue and captivating fight choreography, yet the series steadily fizzles out as the story moves forward in the episodes thereafter. Its only true redemptions are its embrace of cultural representation. That's a redemption? The fact that it represents people? That's just lazy. And the man called Wilson Fisk. Vincent D'Onofrio is fantastic, so good on him. And then there's some, again, there are some positive stuff. Like, I'm not hiding them, you can see them all there. But, you know, to say I think this is one of the better MCU shows, because I feel like most of the hate is people wanting it to fail more than this being bad, like they gave it bad reviews before the show even came out. You haven't even said why it's good, mate. I mean, that's not good. But anyway, this was some of the first social media reactions, and they released it pretty much. The embargo was lifted pretty much immediately before the show's release, which is always a bad sign. It's always a bad sign. And some of these are terrible, you know. First few episodes are mixed. She's a strong character. Story's never compelling. There's a narrative device, feels shoehorned. You know, give proper verdict. Maybe the final 2 episodes will sort of, you know, actually make it good. That's, again, still not really a good sign. Biggest takeaway, Maya, Alaka Cox. She's alright, I guess. But it's a Kmart impersonation of what the Netflix shows were. Which, you're always going to be compared to the Netflix shows. Always going to be compared to the Netflix shows. Because they are the bar that, you know, everything's going to be compared against when you're dealing with gritty, tough stuff, you know, in Marvel. Social media embargoes lifted. My response is this. There's an absolute reason why this show is lifting its review embargo the second it drops all of its episodes at once and not 1 minute sooner. Again, not good. A lot of this is not good. And, you know, for those people that did like it, I guess the point I'm trying to make here is no one cares. You know, and Rotten Tomatoes, again, not really a great metric, but it's a good example of where their interest is. So, you know, you'll have people come out and, you know, there'll be copious amounts of reviews for She-Hulk, for instance, because loads of people watched it because they were like, my God, let's see how bad this really is. And that's an interest. That is an interest in Marvel. No one even cares to hate watch this. Even the critics don't care to watch it. And I just think this is showing the great Marvel decline. Quite literally, this is what these videos are, I guess, chronicling the decline of Marvel, which is genuinely sad. Genuinely sad. But I don't have much else to say on this. I just thought this was a good example of it. Will I watch it? No. For my podcast, the Hcast, I've managed to get one of my panel members, my co-host Culture Casino, to watch it. So he's got to watch it. I'm not watching this. To me, it's junk. So it is what it is, but I'll figure out his review tomorrow on the podcast. Anyway, cheers, guys. Leave your thoughts down below. Have you watched it? Do you care? Do you not? The decline of Marvel is real. Take care. Bye-bye now.